Who did that to you?
He is a lone wolf with many enemies. His name is
Sick.
What's going on, everybody? I'm DeoGenZ. Welcome to Gaming Gauntlet Episode 3. That's right. We are chugging along every week with a new episode all about what I've been playing, all about what's been going on, mainly in Pokemon news, but roughly in other bits and pieces of Nintendo news that I happen to catch. What's going on in my Minecraft world. The gaming, dubstep, or anime compilation of the week, and something's changed about that this week, but we'll get there when we do. All that new every week, and it's thanks to our sponsors. Remember, our sponsors help us all, and something I want to say that's new that you guys can check out, go to a channel called Tiny Galaxy on YouTube. I am now a part of uploading on that channel. I'm I guess you could say, channel collaborator with many other Pokemon LPers, but what I choose to LP on this particular channel, Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. It's a really cool LP. It's a blast. I play for much longer than I ever thought that I could play a pinball game for. I was really a pinball wizard in the zone. Pinball wizard flipping the paddles. It's not even the song, but don't worry about it. Just go check out that channel, Tiny Galaxy. I don't know when it's going to be uploaded. I know that Fridays are usually the days that they upload Pokemon 3DS and Game Boy Advance content, so my content falls under two of those subcategories, being gaming of Pokemon and GBA. But I don't know if it's going to be up this Friday, next Friday, who knows, whenever. But check it out. In other news, because we're going to jump right into it. Remember last week when I was talking about that Mewtwo? You could see the stats right there. Well, I didn't know when the cutoff date was going to be. It was announced. The Mewtwo Wi-Fi event is going to run from February 12th to the 26th. So, got to get it in between that time span. And recently, Mewtwo actually had a birthday, apparently. I saw Chugga Conroy tweeting about it. I don't know exactly how old Mewtwo is, but that's funny that it's his birthday, and the Wi-Fi event is coming out for most of the other regions. So check that out when you can. But if you only have, or if you happen to also have, the Japanese game, you're going to be able to get a new Sea Gear. Just like last week or the week before, whenever it was, that Crustle was only available for Japan. Now there's going to be a Clink Sea Gear. It's pretty cool. It looks mechanical and kind of like binary. Clink, clank, clink, clink. It's almost like it's a clink clock. Now that would be cool if they started having Sea Gear that would actually tell you time or some other useful information. I mean, it does tell you time. It does. But as a clock looking like Clink, or Clink Clank, or whatever the hell its last evolution is. I completely forgot what that gear Pokemon was. Maybe I'm going to have to do an EV training set on it. You know, if I forget a 5th gen Pokemon, I got to learn it, got to know it. Otherwise my LPs will suck, and I'm going to be like, oh, that Pokemon, that the Japanese Minazume. No, wait, Patrat. Oh, yeah, so got to remember those. But you'll be able to get the Clink Sea Gear until March 27th, so you've got a long time to get it, but get it while you can. There's no password needed, so just access it. And that goes for the Mewtwo as well. There's no password needed. Some of these are required for Sea Gear on the Dream World, if you unlock something through that. I don't know the specifications of the Dream World because I don't have internet, so I'm never going back and forth between that, but I know, for example, this new event that's coming out and will run until May 1st, the Arceus event that people voted on through Global Link, that will only be available, I believe, through the website. If I'm getting my clarifications wrong, correct me in the comments below. I'll thumbs it up so people could see. But it's going to go on through Global Link until May 1st, and that has a password on it. So that you have to type in Arceus Vote, and it's on the screen there, so get a pen and paper or pause the video and just enter it in and download it now, because it will go goodbye May 1st. It doesn't have any special moves or anything. It's just a normal Arceus, but that's pretty good considering that the original Diamond and Pearl never gave us the events to go to Sky Pillar. Oh, wait. You know what? I'm thinking, yeah, I am thinking correct. With the flute, I was going to say another item, but to go back to the Sky Pillar, whether it was in Diamond, you already beat Dialga, and then you go back to see Arceus with that flute. They never released a download for that, so it's pretty cool that they allow you to get it in black and white now. Kind of sucks, though, if you have a lower edition of the game, because there's no getting that. There's no backwards compatibility from black over into Heart Gold, for instance. Once you transfer your Pokemon through there, they're not coming back. Now, in non-Pokemon related news, in Wii U news, Team Ninja, the developers who worked on Metroid Other M, and I've got some things to say about that later in the podcast, they are all for Wii U. They say that it's very similar to programming for a PS3 or 360, so that's a good sign. It's nice to see that Nintendo is finally beefing up the graphics to already standard generation graphics levels. Who knows what the next PS whatever 4 and beyond will turn into. It's going to eventually be, I'm going to, place your bets now in the comments section. Who do you think is going to be the company that first develops a living room hologram system that can be an all-immersive gaming experience? You're not only moving your hands and Kinect and looking like a fool in front of the camera, which who knows if that's really recording, but you actually are immersed in it, and so you're in a first-person shooter. You have that gun. Say you're playing Metroid, even better. A better first-person shooter adventure game, some will argue. You're Samus. You're seeing through the visor. You have the arm cannon. It's all immersive, and it's all around you, but it's just in your living room, and it's just kind of flickering past you seamlessly in the hologram so you don't notice. But who do you think will come up with that first? Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft? I don't know. Microsoft's already got a one-up kind of on the seamless motion without remotes. No need to waggle controllers into the screen and break shit anymore. You can just flail your hands, and that's the new waggle. I wonder if there's going to be a new Wii-itis for 360. 360 Nekitis, because it's Kinect-itis. From flailing your body parts too much and whoosh, whacking someone in the face. I bet they have those warnings. But also, High Voltage is another company who said they are behind Wii U. They didn't so much say it as on their website you can see a Wii U logo, which who knows if it's even going to be called Wii U. It's kind of like Wii in the first place was supposed to be called Nintendo Revolution. Then that name got changed and revitalized, revisioned into Wii, because Wii is for everyone. And Wii U, maybe they'll go for a more hardcore sounding name. I don't know. A lot of the hardcore audience is behind it, a lot of the hardcore developers. And Conduit is what was developed by High Voltage. Also, you may be familiar with the Grinder, which hasn't come out on Wii. It was supposed to originally. I remember seeing video of it in a first-person shooter kind of, I think it was Western, but mixed with zombies, I don't know, but many zombies, not zombies, but nightcrawler things. It was very strange, but that turned out not to ever come to fruition on Wii, and it came out on 360 and PS3 as some completely different type of game. So, very strange. Who knows what would come with High Voltage and Wii U, but we will have to see. Now for the dubstep compilation of the week. I know the news went by quickly. I'm trying to think about any other news that I have for the channel, but pretty much nothing new. Just keep on uploading with the Sonic Generations. Other than that, I already told you about the Tiny Galaxy Pokemon Pinball that I will be eventually uploaded on that channel, so that's where you could see that LP. But yeah, there's nothing really new on the channel. Oh, there is one thing. Pokeblaze HD, check out his channel because he is my official artist for my whole kit and caboodle of YouTube. When it comes to thumbnails, many of them will be devised by him. Some I'll make myself, when I have the time. But since I'm in college and I'm doing multiple YouTube channel uploads, it helps to have some assistance. And this artist, you can check out his page. He does LPs, he has a DeviantArt, and he's awesome. He created the banner that you could see on my main YouTube channel, and although it looks really polished and like, ooh, shiny buttons, at this point, at February 7th, 2012, it is not clickable. I don't know how to enable the clicking portions to go to Twitter and to go to the blog channel, but I'm going to have to work that out later because I don't have Wi-Fi and a computer to do it with. So comment below, direct me towards a tutorial where I can learn about banner editing so I can make things clickable. But it's one of the many benefits about being a partner. Not only do we get to spread the content onto other channels so people can come on by and see all the other LPs like Vlad's Minecraft and my other Pokemon walkthroughs like Crystal, which new episode will be coming out this Friday. You know, it's good to spread out, but also you have the benefits of thumbnails, and that's really cool because we have illustrators now. So check out his channel, Pokeblaze HD. Moving on to the dubstep of the week. This week it is Apples by That's Sick, and the footage that I mixed it to, the animated video, animated music video, it is the actual Pokemon anime. I think it was from Season 4, I'm going to say. Yeah, I think Season 4. And it was the Apple Corp episode. So I'd love to say enjoy, but click it here. The thing is, with these dubsteps, I don't know which ones are going to raise copyright infringement flags, and I don't want to have my channel banned for silly nonsense like that. I want to keep providing these gaming podcasts, so I provide the link to you there to go check it out on the blog channel, and while you're there, maybe you could check out another video or two, but just be warned, that's my more outspoken channel. I don't hold back, and if you don't like that, then don't watch it. But hey, it's there, and that's where the dubstep compilation is. Enjoy it! And now, we will move on to what I've been playing this week. What I have been playing this week is mainly Minecraft. Of course, we're going to get to that at the end of what I've been playing. But Metroid Other M. I finished that Let's Play, kind of. I'm just working on doing the edits, and then more will pop up on the channel. If not a LP when this goes up, then the following day there probably will be one of Metroid Other M. But that game, beautiful Metroid title. Man, did I really love it. The third time around, yes, because I've played it twice, and this is my third time for the LP. I really took it in and really appreciated it. The first times I had a lot of the similar complaints many people did. A lot of the troubles with switching back and forth into first person, into third person. It's kind of a Wii Motion knack. You know, you kind of have to develop a feel for how you have to switch in and out, and also sensor bar placement. Sensor bar is key. I was kicking ass at some points, going in and out, like it was no problem, like it was seamless, like PlayStation Move or Connect kind of connectivity in Wii Motion, but it's not. It's kind of still clunky. But that's all dependent on your sensor bar placement. If you have Christmas lights or candles around, try and move them away from your TV set because that will mess up the IR indicators and make your reticle go haywire. I found it very frustrating on some of the bosses, but once you got the hang of it, it really wasn't all that difficult. The main complaint I would have with the game is probably the voice acting. Okay, the voice acting, it sucked kind of, but I think it's a bias because growing up as a Metroid fan, everybody knew Samus as the lone space conquering, not really conquering, really space savior of the galaxies that was silent and went in, kicked ass, defeated all the space pirates, and didn't say a word because she's a badass. But then they give her this sometimes sounding unenthusiastic voice actor to act out her parts in Metroid Other M. And while it's really cool because this is the closest thing we're ever going to get to seeing Metroid Other M, or Metroid in general, Metroid movie, this is probably the closest thing, and really spectacularly made. It's funny, I was watching the credits. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but watching the credits, I noticed that there was a lot more film studio involvement and a lot more thanks and gravitas placed on the actual cinematics than there was the game programming, which, you know, it blended wonderfully because the game was intrinsically cinematic, because not only would you just go into beautiful cutscenes that were rendered at 60 frames per second, but you'd go into swift combat that with the sense move dodging, even though you're still in what you might perceive to be a clunky classic formation holding the Wii remote on its side, it works so perfectly. It blends so beautifully because your arm cannon, it targets enemies. And they made it a really solid game. Now, I learned what I didn't do once I saw my horrible rate for collecting items. What can I say? This was an LP. It was not a complete walkthrough where I showed you every element of the game. It was just my fun run of it. But my item rate was so horrible, I found out that once you do get 100% of the items collected, that's all the missile tanks, all the energy upgrades, the charge quickeners, catalysts. Once you get all of those, get 100%, you get hard mode. So if you thought some of the enemies we faced were ridiculous then, like the flailing arm lava beast, you got to try it in hard mode. It's brutal. And it's a good challenge for anyone who is a hardcore Metroid fan and felt that, oh man, I beat that game so fast, there was no challenge. And yeah, I could see that. I could see, you know, the problem is it's plenty of gameplay. Yes, I would have liked it to be longer, no lie. But it's so many cutscenes in between. It spaces it out. I saw most of the videos in post-production that I was stringing together and chopping up being majority just cutscene. And of course it only happens at climax points, but the game is always coming to mini climaxes, so it's always exciting and taking new turns and twists. And it's really awesome. Now from here, where do you think Metroid will go? Do you think Team Ninja is going to get it again? Do you think maybe Retro Studios is going to have it? Or a new development team? I mean, Wii U offers so many new options. Imagine Metroid in HD. True HD. Beautiful. I think about Metroid Other M, and I think to that Twilight demo that they showed at E3 last year with Wii U. That was gorgeous when Link was fighting the giant spider thing. And that was incredible. The textures were so detailed. I was like, why? Why can't I experience this HD magic with Zelda now? But it's, you know, also picturable, if you could even term that, picturable with Metroid Other M. That would be a perfect game to see in HD. I mean, the cutscenes and graphics are hyper intense as they are, but that would be a beautiful game. And I would love to see Samus go back into the first-person genre, personally. And I would like to see her return to the more traditional way of scanning items and picking up story dialogue through that. I thought that was so clever because the first time I played, I'm going to get on a little bit of a rant of the Prime trilogy here, but the first time I played Metroid Prime, I just played it through, and oftentimes I was struggling because it was really, you know, I was still a noob gamer, and learning how to target and control the GameCube and all these sticks and buttons, what is this madness? It was difficult, so I was just struggling to get to the end, and then found out I missed a big portion of the game. So I'm like, I only finished like 40-something% of the game. How could that be? And I learned that I had to go back and scan everything, find all the items, and that by scanning everything, you unlocked the story. You saw what the history of this planet that you were exploring was before you got on it. You saw the Chozo and how they were corrupted by Phazon. That was such a stellar story. And I actually had a blog about it recently, how I went on to make my own fan fiction, if you will, of Metroid Prime Hunters, where Sylux goes on his own journey, and they show how Samus's and Sylux's paths have intercepted more than once. But that's a theory based off of the Metroid Prime corruption at the end of that game, so I don't want to spoil anything there. But that's the cool thing about Metroid. It has so many hidden perks, and by not telling you exactly where to go, by not having, Adam, can I use this weapon upgrade now that could have helped me to save somebody like Anthony from the lava? Instead of having to do that, you're on your own, and you have to scavenge and explore the landscape, not be controlled by someone. You have to actually plot out your course through this uncharted land and fill out your map, and if you're lucky, you'll find a map room that fills in some more of the missing data. But then you come across the big boss, and the bosses of Prime were spectacular. Each one so memorable. I don't want to give it away because I do feel like at some point I will probably LP Metroid Prime Trilogy, but many great ones. The first one I'll mention because it's just the first boss, Flagra. That was a crazy boss with awesome music too. The soundtrack of Metroid Prime was spectacular as well. Very ambient. I love the Chozo Ruins. I always have that on my musical device. So I would love to see Metroid in the future on Wii U. Beautiful HD graphics. And maybe, now this would be cool, you could use, say this is the Wii U controller tablet, you could look at what Samus is looking at very similarly how you look with the gyroscopic features of the 3DS. You look around in her visor all around the world for different things to scan, or maybe even you could fire a special beam that way of some sort, but who knows. It would be pretty awesome, and it would be a new way, almost like immersive gaming reality helmets would be, but just a tablet to look into that world, kind of like an augmented reality window, which phones do, by the way, and of course 3DS does. And on the 3DS front, I really haven't been playing much. I've been street passing plenty of times, but every time I go to play my 3DS, every time, I can't leave it going for Street Pass and walk around with it in my bag every day. It just goes dead by the time I want to play it. So it's either play the games or get the Street Passes and the tags, which I want because I want to see the 3D puzzles finished. And I also think it's a fun thing because you get to collaborate Ghosts and other Super Mario 3D Land data, so you get other star coins and extra boxes to help you on your journey there. So I think it's a fun feature, but it's annoying every time I have to pick it up. I have to be sitting huddled next to a wall like, this 3D is awesome. I wish it was portable. But I can't complain, really. I mean, 3D without glasses, of course. Glasses for now. It's amazing. I love it. It's really mind-bending that I could see these photons do that right before my eyes. What else am I not seeing, huh? It's just like another completely different dimension, the quadruplinth dimension of sight, hearing, taste mixed together. That's running through us on a different plane at all times, and we can't figure that out because nobody's developed any technology to make us see that. So, very cool what our eyes can actually see. I know it's probably not that spectacular, and people are going to be like, Dio, you're amazed by nothing. But that's fine. I like being amazed by nothing. Now, I haven't been playing much else. Busy week this week. Lots of transporting back and forth myself to college and doing other work there. But people asked me on the last episode of the Gaming Gauntlet about these two games, Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Both on the GameCube. This was the first one to come out, the second, and both hosting Shadow Pokemon. Now, this one I'm planning to LP fairly soon as I wrap up Crystal, and I know that I'm dragging it out across weeks, but it's just a matter of time and what I have to edit. But pretty soon I'm going to be playing this bad boy, and right off the bat I gotta say they're both excellent games. My favorite, probably this one, because it does improve on some things that this one not really did wrong, but it just improved upon. But Coliseum specifically, it was so excellent to see a GameCube game that wasn't like Pokemon Channel or Pokemon Box. It was a real game that actually had a different adventure, a different storyline. So often do I mention and complain about this that I'm really kind of bored with the traditional go to all gyms, beat the Elite Four, defeat the evil team in that region, yada yada yada, collect the Pokemon. I'm kind of becoming feeling a very banal feeling about it all now, because it's the same thing every game, just different creatures, and it's just like, great, here's the same type of creature that I already caught in the past generation and region, and now I got to do it all over again. Great! But this took existing Pokemon from the first and second and third generation, put them all together, and had a new twist. Shadow Pokemon. Pokemon that were turned evil. And yes, there was an evil group, but there were many shady figures throughout this game. The entire game, even the main character who you played as, they were sketchy guys. And it was an interesting, seedy, more of a mature version of Pokemon. Not that it was rated T or anything, but it took the storyline outside of the Elite Four challenge of boredom. It did something different with it, where now you had some questionable history with some evil guys, but you escaped, and now it's up to you to try and purify the Pokemon that you can and defeat the Shadow Leader. And it has a lot of twists. I don't want to mention any, of course, because I'm going to LP it. It has a lot of twists, has a lot of awesome music too. When you get to the underground section, that is a really cool place. Neon lights everywhere, very grimy, very much underground. And it's got the greatest horn section. I guess it's a MIDI file, really. It's a MIDI file, probably. But it's got the greatest horn section and CD sounds of awesome. So, Coliseum was very cool. And something I never really did with Coliseum so much as advertised is try out the Coliseum mode. And that was just a separate thing where you battled your Pokemon on the GBA with somebody on the GameCube, from your GameCube stash over to whatever was on your cartridge. Nobody really had other cartridges at the time during, unfortunately, the Hoenn region, where these two were the mainliners. A lot of people left the series. A lot of people left the franchise for some reason. I guess that was when the boom kind of fell out, and when the true Pokemon fans like me, myself, and whoever else is watching these podcasts probably are, the true drop-off stayed with Hoenn. But I didn't know anybody who had a cartridge. But what I did use this game for often, which it is shown on the back here, is you could, of course, hook up your Game Boy Advance to the GameCube, but you could trade Pokemon with yourself in that way. And that was how I collected a lot of Pokemon in my Pokedex. Never completed it, though. Never completed it. But once I transferred all of those creatures that I caught across years into Diamond, after over 700 hours, I think it was over 400 hours when I completed the Pokedex, but now that game is just, wow, I invested so much time into that one. But over 400 hours, the Pokedex was finally filled with 493. And then those motherfuckers rose it. Now I have to capture more. But I'll get there eventually. I'll probably get there in the third iteration, if there is one. Who knows? I would like there not to be. But it was a very cool way to capture rare Pokemon, because many of these Shadow Pokemon, one, they'd be very valuable to your team because you started out with Umbreon and Espeon. No more did you have the Grass, Fire, Water starter trio, to choose from in a Pokemon lab. You just had your two partners that throughout the ages, you two knew each other, Espeon and Umbreon. You built a strong bond, and now you do double battles with each other. That was another cool thing, because in the Hoenn region, they introduced double battles, and they took it to full force in the Colosseums that you had to face. So I didn't get to verse people in the Colosseums, but I had many Colosseum matches. There's a sort of a portion of the game I'm going to leave mainly hidden, but it's kind of like Wind Waker, the lair of 100 trials. Or, basically it is. It is a lair of 100 trials, where you just have to take on trainer after trainer after trainer and not die. And it's really cool to start off with just 2 Pokemon, and then catching a ragtag team of Shadow types along the way. And the thing with Shadow Pokemon being evil, they're not going to be like normal types where you could just throw the ball, capture them, and they're yours First of all, there are no wild Pokemon in this region. I guess it was Ore? I don't really know the region of Colosseum that it took place in. Comment below if you do. So after you snagged them with your Snag'em device attached to your hand, that's another thing. Since there's no wild Pokemon, you have to take them from other trainers. That was a concept that blew me out of the water, especially since I played Crystal first, and I witnessed a thief stealing a Pokemon at the Professor Elm's lab, and I was crazed. I was like, how could he do this? I can't even do it to save the Pokemon. I would try and throw Pokeballs at whatever Pokemon my rival chose. And in this game, you could finally do that. You could only capture Shadow Pokemon, mind you. If you tried to snag someone's legitimate Pokemon, they'd be like, don't be a thief. But if they were a Shadow Pokemon, there was nothing the enemy could do. So you got a ragtag team together. You had to train them to the point where they wouldn't hurt themselves in recoil damage or try to attack you because they're evil, and they would be purified. And I thought that was a really cool concept. I liked seeing the alternate story. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness took the story to a similar level. It took it to a different kind of story, and it involved a more noticeable legendary Lugia. It made him Shadow Lugia, the only Pokemon that not only would have a shadow purpley aura around him when you witnessed him, but he himself was changed. His biology turned into a dark Lugia. Look at that thing! Dark Lugia! It's freaking awesome. It was the only one, and I really, I wish they would have had that concept throughout the whole entire game. It would have been cool to see shadow forms of all Pokemon, but in XD Gale of Darkness, you have to go after Lugia, inevitably, and you do pretty much the same kind of thing that you do in Colosseum. That was the one thing that was like, oh boy, I hope they don't get into a repetitive cycle like this. XD Gale of Darkness was kind of like Colosseum too much in some ways. But it did have divergences. You had, this time, instead of just 2 main Pokemon of no choice, because you automatically start out with Umbreon and Espeon and Colosseum, no choice there. You had Eevee, and you could choose to evolve whatever you wanted. No matter what evolution you wanted, you could have it. Of course, Glaceon and Leafeon were not around then, so don't be thinking that, you goofball, if you've never played the games. Remember, this is still in 3rd generation. 4th generation didn't even come out then, so. But there was hints of the 4th generation, which was cool. I liked that about this game a lot. This game had Bonsly in it, and Bonsly was an interesting Pokemon that really... It made me think, was there hidden code in Emerald? Was there a way to breed a Sudowoodo to make a Bonsly? Maybe in the hex data, I don't know, in between the binary somehow. But there wasn't, of course. But there's a portion where you get to interact with Bonsly multiple times. And it's a very adorable Pokemon. It's a very cool hint to what was coming at the time. Something different about Gale of Darkness also was that you could capture wild Pokemon. They would have wild Pokemon areas that you could bait and then later come to capture whatever takes the bait. It was an interesting concept. It worked pretty well, but I would have liked to see it. I would have liked to have seen it done more throughout the world and throughout the gameplay. It kind of just lent a different Pokemon for you to use. It also gave the main character different points to go in between, different points on the map just for the sake of traveling. So that was interesting, but which was the better story? It's hard to say, because the original kind of takes the cake. The original came up with the originating concept of Shadow Pokemon, and the idea that you played this badass. In this game, you don't play as such a badass. You're more of a friendly kind of kid with an awesome robot arm and kind of, not headset, but yeah, headset that goes over the eye and lets you see Shadow Pokemon. But I thought that Colosseum was grittier. It was more... It kept me more engaged. I felt at times with Gale of Darkness it was like too repetitive, and I felt as though I've already had to go through a myriad of trainers just like this before. You know, this is really not changing anything, and it's the same thing. Now we're starting to get into the same stratified team structure of where, oh, now an evil team is behind everything. Great. That's kind of how it is in the first game. It's kind of how it is in the second game. But not. There are major twists in both. Both games, really great. If you wanted to know which one to play more because you want to see the most features, then get Gale of Darkness because it's got the most updated things. But if you're a Pokemon fan and you just want to experience all of them, well, of course, go for both. But really, this is the more, I would say, enjoyable experience for me. You know, it's just personal. I like the original soundtrack better. I like the main character better. And it was the first. It was the first that got me curious, and it's really cool to see Celebi. But Shadow Lugia was cool. Don't get me wrong. The battle with Shadow Lugia, epic proportions. Epic proportions, and very surprising what comes in. But I'll leave it at that. That was my opinions of XD Gale of Darkness and Colosseum. I'm hoping to play this one sooner than later, and this one in the future, of course, because it's a Pokemon channel. Now, other than all those games, like I said in the beginning of this section, I've been playing lots of Minecraft. I found many more diamonds, and I'm going to let you see that crafting corner with DeoGenZ now because I got a Bandai cam. You can check out in the description, the show notes, if you will, the Bandai cam link where I got this recorder. It's really handy. It works well with Minecraft, and it's a lifesaver because Fraps was freaking the fuck out in Minecraft. Every time I would go to record, it would drop to like 10 or 2 frames a second. And there was no way that any kind of recording would be actually placed on this podcast. It would just have to be snapshots. But thanks to Bandai Cam, it works, so enjoy. Welcome to the DeoGenZ domain in full recording glory. Thanks to Bandai Cam. For some reason, Fraps was freaking out, and Bandai Cam really helped out. So over here we got some storage chests, some ender eyes, well, soon to be ender eyes when I get more ender pearls that I stole from those endermen when I defeated them. Yes, what you're seeing out in the distance is a nether portal, but those are my gardens. We'll get to you later. But this was a watchtower that was already established in the town. I just kind of built this room that overhung it, attaching from the original house. Damn chicken. I don't know how to make records yet, so I don't know how to use that. And this enchantment table I made with diamonds. Don't know how to make anything on that either. Gonna have to check out the Minecraft wiki a little bit more, but pretty cool that I found diamonds. And interestingly enough, I found all these other items, mainly all the minerals you see at least, right outside my town. Literally right outside the cacti sand wall, which you'll be seeing in a moment. Let's make sure, yes, okay. Difficulty is on normal, because I want normal action, as if this was a mini Minecraft LP. Yeah, but right outside of my own village was a hole that led me down far, far, far into the Minecraft land. Look at this gold. I got that all from that expedition. And, of course, my pet NPC. He happened to wander into my house and then just happened to fall down my trapdoor. Oops. But I also have a mushroom propagator. So this town thing has been working out well. I mean, it's been providing awesomely. And now I'm making it sustainable, too. That's a big, important thing. You want to make sure that you can keep things growing. And I do have lava. Unlike Vlad, I can handle the heat. So that's why I built this kitchen. Put cakes everywhere. Make sure you know it's a kitchen. I have a refrigerator made of 2 slabs on the bottom, and then 1 storage chest and 1 on top. So it's actually a functional fridge. And I'll keep all my cold goods in there. This is my pumpkin garden. Making more pumpkins just in case I lose any to lava or die in Nether. which has happened before, so I do need pumpkins. This is my massive cow farm. These guys have gone quite far. They were just 2 lonely cows from the valley. They followed me all the way with 1 piece of wheat that I grabbed from the village before it even established its walls, and I really had no supplies to put them anywhere. So this, what you're seeing, this subterranean sand dwelling for them, that was their original home, underneath my garden. Underneath the patch of garden that I pulled their food from. They're living under it because I didn't have all these fences to start with. It's only recently that I expanded them so far out. And that gate's just a nice touch, so I can go in one way and then avoid them all out the other way. But look at that, they ate all the food. I do not want any part of that creeper blowing up by my house. Damn it. I don't have a sword. Speaking of Nether, I did have a sword. Until being defeated by the blaze rod bitches. I don't even know what you call them, but I know you get blaze rods from them. And on a mission to go get them in Nether, with my diamond sword, diamond armor, and diamond pickaxe, I died. It was painful. It wasn't so much the blaze rods that killed them as much as my idiocy. I will admit to this, as I have to craft now subpar armor to my diamond armor. I tried putting TNT near their spawning block, thinking, oh, I'm just gonna blast them to Kingdom Ka, and it's gonna give me tons. Oh, not enough for booties. It's gonna give me tons of blaze rods. Oh no, it doesn't. It was just game over after that. But luckily my house has 2 exits and entrances. One is more personal, just goes out into my garden/farm area with clipped leaves to give me kind of a forest appeal in the desert. You can see that I am trying to renovate this whole biome, try to make it a forest biome later on. And I have successfully had 1 tree grow already. It seems to be requiring water, but I'm going to have to work on getting grass growth. But still, terraforming the land and twirling my words all up in one. But this creeper, he won't know what's going to hit him. Ah! He found me. It's pretty swift. I don't want him blowing up by the barn, so... Damn it, wolf. That's the only thing. Wolves will not attack creepers. Even if you start bashing them with your sword, look, he's just looking at me like, I'm not going to get it, you get it. You got the bows and arrows in my person. Oh no, oh no. No! Don't you even think about it, NPC. There's no leaving for you. We gotta rebuild this wall quickly. I did not intend this distraction on my crafting corner. This is bullshit. But it's such bullshit that I think it would be more bullshit of me to leave it out. And that's a lot of shit. And that just doesn't smell right to me. So, you know, I hope you don't mind watching me rebuild my town as it gets blown to smithereens by creepers. I attribute that to the NPC bridge, which is the method I'm using to transport those NPCs that I was telling you about last episode into my village. Get more people in, raise the populations, since these guys can't breed like the cows can. They don't even accept cake. I tried handing them cake. Probably got to refill my well, by the way. Tried handing them cake, wheat, meat, nothing. They didn't want it. They can't even get out of their houses without me opening the doors. They're about as useful as cattle, but not really, because you can't even eat them. They don't drop any goods. It's not like you get to keep their cool robes. Jeez. You know, I am essentially running an NPC reserve here. That's what I'm doing. A preserve, really. Because before I got here, oh, you should have seen the creepers, zombies, endermans wandering around this town. You thought it was bad with that one creeper. It was much worse before I got here. And rose the wall of sand and cacti around, it made a perfect defense. My picture on the wall, of course. They honor me because I saved them. But, no, in all seriousness, though, the wall around the village, if you're just starting out and you want a place without having to really build up and mine and axe away and craft so many resources, just scuttlebutting around in the sand does pretty well and lets you build high enough walls that cacti can grow on. This way, those nasty spiders that try and supersede the height limit by just crawling over everything, they'll be stopped very pointedly, I guess you could say, by the cacti. And ether, I was about to say ether, but as if, never mind. We are in Nether. I have been through these parts. Yes. It is hot, boiling magma, lava lakes, oceans, waterfalls of lava, lava falls, I suppose you could call them, and zombie pigman-filled lands. There are many dangers that await you in Nether, so do come prepared. That creeper was one thing, but really the armor was for this. I can't believe that we didn't come in here with freaking pickaxes, so don't repeat the mistakes that I just made hastily coming into Nether because, oh look, there's the portal, and it's so conveniently there. Time to mine. It's interesting the way the achievements are obtained in this game. It doesn't seem like it registers if you just mine ahead with the advanced version of whatever tool you're using. Because I've used iron and diamond pickaxe. I never got that achievement before. But you're going to need pickaxes or cobblestone or soil, some kind of mechanism to transport your way around Nether. And really, you will want to come in with some pickaxes, more capable than just wood, because oftentimes you'll see a fortress is right before your eyes, but you're not going to be able to access it unless you have a buttload of stone or this nether rack, which, if you go look at it on the item screen, it is R-A-C-K, not R-O-C-K, so it's rack. And you're going to need a lot of it to get over to whatever fortress you see, or you could just burrow a couple of holes and get there a lot quicker. That's kind of the method I'm going to be using, with some pre-dug holes, because, as I mentioned before, I've gone through this land once or twice. Died once. Tried to save my items the twice. Was unsuccessful and committed lavacide. And, well, I'm here today with you now. But, yes, bring your pickaxes, and beware the zombie pigmen. Okay, don't start any fights without being prepared in that suit either. You need suits of armor for protection against fall damage and against any ghasts that fire at you, which, I wonder if we're going to encounter them on this trip. But if you attack the zombie pigmen, they drop raw meat. And they also drop experience, but sometimes you'll get lucky and they'll drop gold nuggets. I've never successfully collected gold nuggets and brought them back to my crafting table, so I don't know what they do, unfortunately, but hey, anything gold has got to be good, especially since it is quite rare. You can only find gold nuggets, I believe, from these guys, but once you kill one, it alerts any in the area to your presence of assholiness and attacking their kind, and they gang up on you. Okay, that's not the way that I burrowed on through, but we need to eat meat. Let's see if my if my theories of going through the mountainside with a pickaxe are right. Usually you can tell points to burrow through, the best spots to go through and avoid lava, if you're looking at a cliff or an overhang. If you're looking at something that is jutting out, then usually it won't take too long for you to mine a way through it. If you get stuck in a mining sequence, though, where it seems like you've gone endlessly into netherrack, don't turn back, really. Just try and maybe mining horizontally. Aha, yes. I thought I had some pre-dug holes, and whoa, I was nuts on this run. I had diamond armor, and I was fearless. But, geez, you don't have to get as perilous as me. Oh, wow. How am I gonna... Well, I've got armor. Make the jump! Alright, so we took some fall damage, but again, that's why armor is key in the Nether world. It's not like the normal world. It's got a lot more natural hazards, I could say, to worry about. I almost think of this world as being a little more peaceful in a way. Yes, there are more violent NPCs here in the ways of zombie pigmen with gold swords, which, by the way, that's some weak-ass shit, guys. I tell you what, your iron sword's gonna bash their stupid little dinky gold sword inwards because it's such a malleable metal. So, those pigmen, they're really easy to defeat. Do attack them. Do go after the hordes. Hopefully we'll run into a couple of hordes so we can find some gold nuggets on this trip. But just make sure you come well prepared. Bring a strong sword, not a gold sword. Bring an iron sword. Oh, gassed. Or a diamond sword. And jump up and down. Just hold the space bar so you auto-jump. This way, you're swinging your sword, auto-jumping up and down, and that will enable a lot more critical hits. This guy here, however, I'm a little ill-prepared to take on, so we're most likely just going to evade him. He's a ghast, big jellyfish-type thing that shoots explosive fireballs at you, and he's really hard to hit with a sword. He will try and lure you over the edge of cliffs, so you fall... Ooh, that was a gold nugget. So you fall into your lava doom. Oh, good, here's a bunch of them. You can lure them away so you don't get ransacked all at once. That's a good strategy, moving back. Seeing if you get in their sights. This way you don't alert all the herd. But anyway, going back to the ghast. Yeah, I'm ill-prepared at this point because I can't hit him unless I have a projectile weapon like an arrow and bow, but I do not have that with me. I lost it in the last trip to Nether, so I'm going to have to craft a new one. You can, however, Ocarina of Time style, hit back the coal, which looks to be a fiery piece of coal that's explosive when it's coming at you. You can time it out right and hit it back at the ghast, which is a good way of reflecting his shots, especially if you're like me and you only have a sword on you. So come on, let's try and volley the ghast. I wonder how many hits of his own fiery explosives. Oof. Will it take? See, there we go. Let's try and actually hit him this time. Oh, we got him. One more. Still firing. He's firing his coal explosives. Ha! So yes, you can in fact take out the ghasts, just like you defeat Ganon. But Ganon was a lot easier to defeat than these ghasts, I will admit. No offense to Ganon, his dark hoodliness, but these guys, they move around all the time. Look at this. You gotta aim perfect and hope that they don't move out of your line of fire in order to send back their explosives at them. It's not like Ganon where you just have to worry about hitting that one volley of ball of energy and then it will vroom right back at its owner. No, it's not auto-connecting, unfortunately. You have to aim it, and it's sometimes difficult. So bring bows and arrows. Or one bow, many arrows. That'll be more beneficial for you. Otherwise, travel light. I mean, the main things you need, meat, bring, although you get meat, of course, from the zombie pigmen, it's raw meat, so sometimes it can get you a little ill, and not in the good type of ill, like the way dubstep is ill. But I guess it gets you sick, and, yeah, there we go. I don't want to waste any of the nether rack if we can. We'll just mine away this glowstone here, which goes into glowstone powder. And sounds like glass, too. It's interesting. Notch never made that a cobblestone type of block, so it's fine by me. We can reform it back on the crafting table once we get it up to our house. Oh, great. The ghasts are firing at us over here. We may have to cut this mining of glowstone a little short. I don't want to be fired at. Oof. But all this glowstone dust will make glowing stones in our world, which is good because you can only find them in Nether. But you really only need meat, sword, armor, bow and arrow, lots of arrows, many, many arrows. Maybe bring a bucket and a bucket full of water. A bucket full of water. Whoa, those guys freaking ransacked me out of nowhere. I don't even know where you spawn from. Jeez. Yeah, get blown up by the ghast. Thanks for helping me out, Ghasty. Whoa, he's killing me. Oh, and I gotta eat, speaking of meat. But, yeah, you might want to bring a bucket of water, because you won't have to rely on stiffening the fall damage in your knees, bracing that, if you just bring a bucket of water to glide down, kind of like a waterfall elevator, and then you just mine your way back up as stairs to go pick up the source block. You could do that as an option, but otherwise, travel lightly, because you're going to want lots of space for the exclusive blocks that you can find here. Of course, netherrack, soul sand, which is that sand that's kind of gray off to the side, and if you look at it, it's got like screaming faces in it. You'll hear all sorts of moaning noises when you step on it, and it also makes you go a little bit slower, so, you know, pick up a couple of it, line your town around with it. It'll send a message to all the creepers. You want to be turned into soul sand? Then try and climb over this soul sand wall with cacti at the top. Yeah, I bet that'll change your mind. Although I don't know if cacti could actually grow in soul sand. That'd be an interesting experiment to do once we get all this up top to surface side. But I do also wonder, a thing that I need stronger pickaxes for. Jeez, stumbling all over today. But what is the height limit? Is it 64 blocks upward until you can't mine anymore? And do you ever get out of Nether from just burrowing up? That would be funny. Oh, look. You burrowed past. Well, maybe not. I guess Nether is what's underneath bedrock. And since you can't mine past bedrock downwards, betting you can't do it upwards either. Yeah, so glowstone. We're going to get blaze rods, which are going to be used for potions in some way. I don't know exactly how, but I do know they are involved in potion making. And this is why you definitely want armor. The blaze rod enemies that are only found in fortresses, they are rapid fire spitters, and they'll often set you on fire and whittle away your health slowly. So if you catch on fire, if you don't successfully dodge them by jumping all around and moving left to right, this is a perfect zombie pigmen horde. Oh yeah, let's take you all on at once. I'll definitely get gold ingots this way. Or gold drops, not ingots. Ingots are different. Yeah, but if you don't dodge those blaze dudes properly, they will set you ablaze, and I recommend you run the heck out of there. I know there's a fortress up one of these hills, but I do want to take out the rest of these pigmen, because, look at that, they are dropping plenty of gold. Lots of gold drops. Maybe they're liquid gold drops, huh? Maybe we can make a tub on the crafting block. Maybe we can make a tub filled of golden drops. Take golden shower. Oh, wait. Ooh. Walked into that one, didn't I? Anyway. These pigmen, look at them. They remember you. They remember you. Although, I don't know what their memory limit is. I don't know if it's like a radar on Deus Ex when you're spotted by an enemy and you have a certain time limit before they're like, maybe I just heard something. Maybe I'm paranoid. I think I'm paranoid. I remember that song from Rock Band. I always hated playing it. So, of course, the songs you don't like get stuck in your head. But yeah, I don't know how great the memory of a pigman is, because you notice when we first came over to that area to mine up the glowstone, they weren't so much attacking us. And that was good. But as soon as you attack that little cluster of pigmen, it's like they kind of branch off into their own factions. Who knows? Maybe it's like Fallout of pigmen. And we're just not understanding their pig Latin language in order to see what their factions are and what's good and what's evil. Oh, we hit him once. Come on. One more. He's being cheap. He's just firing above my head, so I can't go any further. What a dick. I'm going around it then. Aha, see those structures there? Yep, when you see dark looming structures, you've got yourself some nether brick. And nether brick, of course, only found in the nether. We're probably going to see nether fences, too. Is he still firing? Oh, he's still firing, yes. Yes, he is still firing like a Byron. Damn. We are not doing such a great job at the deflection here. I. Sorry, I don't mean to include you in my suckage. No! I don't want to be on fire! Put me out, put me out, put me out, put me out. Oh, what was the way that you could put yourself out besides running around like a lunatic? In fact, I think in real life, running around like a lunatic is the worst thing to do if you catch on fire. You're just gonna excite and catalyze the flames with more oxygen that you're passing through them. So don't do that. Stop, drop, and roll, please. Make the fire inert by cutting out its oxygen supply. Don't give it fuel to burn. Remember, life is much like Minecraft. It's made up of many chemical components that are block-like. Well, not really, but we can theorize them in that way and picture them as so because, heck, we don't even know what an atom looks like. But that's besides the point. They're all made up of components. But yeah, seriously, in Minecraft, how do you put yourself out besides running around? Because it's deadly. And although fire is somewhat nerfed, is that fire dripping? It better not be lava underneath us, or above us, I mean. Well, if it was lava, it would have probably melted my head by now, so I'm going to say it's probably just fire, but that also means that that ghast is still around. If you ever get in trouble with a ghast, you don't have any more arrows, and that can happen, you know, you lose track of how good your mining equipment is, and then you're screwed, but you lose track of how many arrows you've been firing. You've just gotten on such a haul of glowstone, which can happen, and then you're bombarded by ghasts. Just burrow underground. See him right up there. Now that overhang's probably going to protect us, so let's run for that fortress while we can. Yeah, I don't even want to attempt to start climbing up a fortress if we don't have to, with those ghasts floating about. Because it's going to be a similar thing when we were sitting on that glowstone and they were firing at us. We're going to get to halfway, maybe, up this fortress pillar, and then bam, they're going to blow us the heck out. Let's see. I do wonder if these are hollow. This is something I've never tried. Last time I was here, I went over a bridge. I don't know where that bridge went, but these pillars don't seem to be... No, they really don't seem to be hollow at all. Alright, so if you want a lot of nether brick, you can destroy the pillars, of course. Doing that's going to really make it difficult to find the fortress again, if you hope to come back to it. So let's find for a... Ooh! A good access point. Now, I wish I could tell you what those things are, but I personally don't know. They're some kind of blobular form, kind of like the goo guys you can find in the main world, except these guys hurt you with flames instead of, I don't know, a light tackle attack from what those globs in the overworld do. Pretty easy to defeat. Sometimes they'll split up into multiple dudes, but overall, it's not bad. And if there are ghasts in the area, like there is now, you can try and use the pillars. I don't know how much pillar we have to burrow through, though, to get to the top of this fortress, so I'm trying to go through an open hole. Don't hit me, ghast. Good. I don't know where he went, but that's quite alright with me. Phew! But if you're taking heavier fire from a ghast, try and hide behind the pillars. I don't know if they're blast proof or he just stops firing altogether, but whenever I'm behind a pillar, he never seems to get me. Alright, we are still not in that fortress. Ah! Well, that kind of helped us, so can't complain. A ghast blast. Remember, when we are in trouble, dig! Dig like a mighty mole! This is Minecraft. And this is definitely a part of... Yep, okay, we are entering the fortress. Yes, but this is Minecraft. One of the best solutions you can ever come up with is to dig! Alright, first let's eat up. I don't know what's going to be around the corner. Could be some of those blaze rod enemies. Could be glowstone. Alright, well that glowstone is a good marker. I left that actually in this place to let me know when I come back here that I've been here before. You can kind of tell by some of the eaten away surrounding bottom level where there was supposed to be brick. I picked up some of that and lost it, of course, to these blaze rod peoples. Alright, they're up in there. You can see them already jumping around, burning shit up. And you'll know that you're getting close to them if you start hearing some kind of wheezing. Not like wheezing the Pokemon, but wheezing as if it was a gas mask or some biohazard mask over someone's face. That'll be a pretty good indicator that these assholes are around. Now I'm playing this in normal mode, but from what I've heard, if you switch it into easy, they drop blaze rods every time. I don't like to play like that though, because where's the challenge in it? And if I was going to do an easy world, I would have just switched it to easy. At that point, heck, why don't I switch it to peaceful when things get tough in a cave? This way I never have to worry about dying. This is a little alcove I kind of buried myself into before, and it worked pretty well. Though I can't seem to get the blaze rod dudes to follow me. It worked pretty well in having them follow me so I could attack them. But if they're not going to follow me, we can attack them underneath the fence. There we go. It's all about limiting their space of firing with those fireballs. And of course... Oh, damn it! Of course now he's coming up to follow me. Don't follow me now! I'm on fire. Alright, well that was not really how that was supposed to work out, but I'm getting it. Okay. But the main idea with fighting these enemies, because they have such rapid fire hits, and you want to just keep bashing away at them and harvest them, really. You don't want to be moving back and forth in the halls, trying to dodge them. See? There's a blaze rod. Ah! And I'm blazing as well. But you don't want to be rushing back and forth, just trying to put out the flames, while these guys are still attacking you from a distance, because then more will spawn, and then by the time you get back, it's gonna be crazy. You're not gonna want to repeat that process. You're gonna want to just harvest them like any cow or other peaceful NPC that you know of. And no, these guys won't be peaceful because you're attacking them from underneath their fortress here. But this little side thing, I'm trying to remember if I dug this out or if it was actually just spaced out already. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was spaced out already, and that's why I just decided to stay down. But once these guys are defeated, we can probably go back around and pick up any items that we missed, but ideally I want them to drop them in this hole. Oh well, we do have one blaze rod, and that's all that matters. In order to make a potion creation table, you need one blaze rod and then 3 cobblestone on the bottom across of the crafting block. Put me on fire. See, this is the good thing. When I go on fire, I just go off to the side where their fireballs can't reach me. This is a really annoying angle overall for them to try and shoot in. Not to mention that the fence is blocking them from falling down here. Oh, another blaze rod. That's good. So this is really a great strategy for taking out blaze rods. Forget what I said earlier about the water bucket. I'm double thinking this now because I didn't expect this strategy to, quite frankly, work out so well. But, I see a bunch of blaze rods up there. I need to get those. I need to not be on fire, too. Yeah, but the water bucket idea of putting out these blaze rods, I don't know how it's going to work. It might work out well. Maybe they are allergic to water, hydrophobic, if you will. But maybe it'll just destroy their spawning point, their spawn box, and then you can't get more blaze rods, so that's no good. Yeah, this works out well. I don't think that you need a bucket. You don't need to waste a space for a useless item. See him coming out with more. Well, I don't know if he is, but let's see if we can burrow around, or even out of this castle. I don't know how much layer of castle there is, or fortress. But all I do know is that I don't want to go out the way that I came in. And actually, if we do hit the surface, I think I'm going to call this crafting corner complete because this is not a full LP. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's not. It's totally not. But it's just showing you what I've been up to in Minecraft over the past week. So I'll see you guys next week for more crafting corner coolness. Portable gaming. It's compelling. Portable gaming thrives so much, and the thing that I think of first when I hear portable gaming is Nintendo, of course. This was my first system ever, the Game Boy Advance. It still works, I just don't have batteries, and I've logged countless hours into this cartridge. So many of those hours lost, because it was still technology in the workings, and this had an internal battery that could run dry. But this advanced so much further into now what Nintendo has, the 3DS, where it's super connective. It connects to other consoles when it's in sleep mode, you don't even know. Always trying to connect up to the internet, receive updates, demos, all this cool shit. And there is, of course, a competitor. There's the PlayStation brand. But the two have the similarities of getting you hooked on portable gaming. It's so easy to just put it in your pocket, pull it out, and plug endless hours in without you even realizing. And it satisfies a lot of emptiness you might feel in adventure. Naturally, we're supposed to be roaming about the land. We're supposed to be finding new areas, cultivating, scavenging, hunting. We're not supposed to really remain in one area. That's why we experience these great tragedies of natural disasters. It's because we're still not roaming the land. We're sitting firm and not exploring anymore. And it's interesting because Satoshi Tajiri, the inventor, the creator of Pokemon, which is mainly a portable gaming popularity thing. I mean, they've had some games on the console, like we mentioned earlier, but mostly on handhelds. He mentioned that when he was creating Pokemon, he as a child collected insects and other creatures and analyzed them, but as urbanization occurred, all the insects would fly away and there was nothing more for him to go out and explore. So he had that thought in his mind that he wanted to give people who were locked into the grid of cities, no matter where you were, you could have a vast experience with this role-playing game of finding creatures. And that idea of mass adventure in a tiny system, definitely transfers over to PlayStation Portable. I've seen some amazing games come out for that system that could only be produced for that kind of technology. The thing about Sony that differs from Nintendo, but it's a good differ because, of course, it's an option to have two different experiences. Sony focuses more on power, while Nintendo kind of focuses more on novelty and kind of things that haven't been out yet. You know, they always try to break the boundaries in what is a gaming experience. Before we saw it with Wii. Now you have to stand up in game, and we saw it with 3DS. Now you can see 3D without glasses. They're always trying to push the limits, and they were doing it first with the portable. But with Sony, they have some amazing games like Resistance. They have Loco Roco, which I wish I could experience, but I don't have the dime for PlayStation. So they both deliver deep experiences, but at a small portable level. And that's important, because one of the main things that you can note about Pokemon on a handheld system versus the GameCube, for example, you would have to first of all get a memory card. If you just get a console and a game, you're good. Not with the GameCube. If you got the handheld, Pokemon Red, you're all set. It saves to the cartridge. Eventually you'll have your heart torn apart when the internal battery runs dry. But that won't happen for like years. But still, you have to go out and get a separate memory card. I remember when I first picked up Pokemon Coliseum, I was so excited to see Pokemon in 3D because at the time it was my first console. So I plugged it in, played it, and didn't know about the save feature because I was used to handheld gaming and cartridges that saved right on it. I didn't think that the GameCube wouldn't do the same. But it differed. I had to go out and get a memory card, but still I played Coliseum up to Phoenix City and played the Coliseums over and over, knowing that I shouldn't go any further because my progress wouldn't be saved. So there's that prohibitive boundary, of course, that's been broken by Wii and other new technology, but still, do you always have time in the setup? Consider it, if it is Wii, to plug in all the wires, to just sit down and play, to even start up your console. I mean, I know many gamers who have all three of the consoles, and they end up developing console phobia almost, because it's just too much to sit down and turn on an experience without being interrupted, because life is always constantly going on, to play a really long, in-depth console game quest. But with a portable system, you can go on those long quests, maybe not at the same graphical capabilities, maybe not as at the similar Wii motion capabilities or motion capabilities with Kinect and PS Move, but it gives you that limited sense, and it lets you go on long adventures. Consider Ocarina of Time 3DS. Portables are getting so intense in technology that systems of old, consoles of old, are coming back on the portable system better than ever, in real 3D, without glasses. It's amazing, and it's really incredible that you could pull it out at any time. That's the thing, you can plug away a few minutes of Pokemon, save in that exact spot. That was another thing that really plagued me about Pokemon Coliseum. You had to go to a Pokemon Center in order to save. Oh, joy. So I can't just stop what I'm doing and go about my business, and that's usually what the problem is. That's that whole interruption path. Some console games have gotten better at it, where you can just set a save point wherever. Not all of them have. And when you get interrupted in the middle of a battle sequence that you can't exit out of or save or come to a quick solution, you have to leave the console running, risking overheating and maybe the disc slipping and causing all kinds of other problems, or you could shut it off and try again. With portable gaming, either you could put it into a sleep mode, or you could just save right at your spot and pick up that RPG later. So many Final Fantasies are experienced on handhelds. I'm not a Final Fantasy fan, but that enriching RPG experience, that gripping story, all those characters, all the stats that you have to collaborate with. I believe in the previous podcast I talked about role-playing games and why they're so satisfying. I hope I did. If I'm remembering a different time. Time paradox. But still, having that rich story, great gameplay, intense battle sequences, very fine-tuned battle sequences, I should say. More intense battle sequences, I should say, probably on the console experience, where it's very good and calculated on portable systems, but still, the gap is lessening, and as graphics become greater, even the 3DS, even though it's kind of like standard GameCube, some would say, type graphics in 3D, it's still mind-boggling to me that I could see that in 3D, and I still love the stylistic approaches that Nintendo always presents. But at the same side of PSP Vita, I suppose it's called, I know it was the NGP at some time, but that has 4 cores. 4 cores, that's more than my laptop, which was $3,000. 4 cores in a handheld system. That's gonna produce amazing visuals. Plus they have the touch screens, the touchpad. The PS Vita does excite me quite a bit. So we're seeing that portable gaming, everybody wants that enriching experience, the great story, and the portableness of it. The fact that you can put it in your backpack and just go about your day. And you can pull it out at any time and play and continue on with your day. We love that. But we still love the graphics, and all that is coming together and compressing. But portable gaming still has a different superiority over consoles. That's why it will continue to live on. And we could see it in smartphones. We could see now a whole new generation of gamers coming about with Angry Birds, iPods, and iPads, everything connected online, Kindle Fires. Everybody's coming into a new kind of gaming. And if you want to call it casual core, sure. But it definitely signifies that everybody wants to play games. It's just trying to find the time in this hectic rat race sometimes life can become, with going to school, jobs, and having priorities and responsibilities to take care of. Sometimes it's difficult to sit down with your console and just invest some time. Long games that campaigns will take you hundreds of hours to complete. That's a little daunting. But consider this. I've invested over 700 hours into Pokemon Diamond. Yes, I'm a Pokemaniac. That is a little bit of a bias. But I was able to plug these hours in between the times that I could. Pull it out in school when I'm supposed to be taking notes. It's not important. Look, what led to money first? Pokemon or, I don't know, economics. It looks like Pokemon, so just saying. But you could just sneak in hours upon hours of fun. I would be able to play my console, or my handheld, under the covers with a lit screen like Game Boy Advance SP, or even for this old behemoth, which still works, you could see it's got clips right here, and that's where I would hook in a clamshell type light that would always, of course, with the covers sitting on top of it, the weight of it would push it down, push it down, push it down. Game Boy SP was a marvelous invention and really accelerated my Pokemon playtime because I could play it at night. And it had a headphone jack. Well, did Game Boy Advance SP have a headphone jack? I'm trying to think. I know there was some flaw to it. I don't know if that was the one, but it might have. I believe it did, but I know Game Boy Advance definitely did. And with consoles, my TV doesn't have a headphone jack, so I can't play it at night. I can't disturb, or I will disturb, my brother while he's sleeping if I plug in Metroid Other M. Start blasting away at Ridley again, he's going to be like, go the fuck to sleep. And I can go the fuck to sleep, but not really, because I have lit screens of portables to play. And that's the great thing that keeps me coming back to the portable systems. So that is the gaming philosophy of the week. I love portables. Tell me your best portable experience. Was it with Nintendo? Was it with Sony? Or was it with Microsoft? I'm kidding. Well, maybe not. I mean, maybe there's Microsoft executives who know what's coming down the line, who have tested things. Nah, that's very improbable. But still, tell me your best handheld experience and why you think, or maybe you don't think, it trumps over a console. Now we're going to move on to Pokemon of the Week. This week's Pokemon is Xatu. I remember that from the anime when they had him in that weather forecasting episode, and he was forecasting floods. So, cheery Pokemon. But he is a psychic special attacker. I recommend you train him with a modest nature. If you want to see the EV spread and the complete list and side notes for what I think of this Pokemon, head to my website and go to the blog section. Scroll through there. You'll see Xatu. And if you keep scrolling, you'll see past entries upon past entries of other Pokemon that I've trained in EVs. So if you're looking to improve your team in a special attacker, maybe you need a wall to protect your team, then you could probably find it in the EV training blog there. But with Xatu, it's got a kind of limited move pool. One of the additional moves you'll see that I included for it was a Hyper Beam. I never really like Hyper Beam, but it is special, and if you want to wreak havoc with a 150 supercharged special attacker, might be okay, but I don't recommend it. Psychic would be standard. Trying to think off of memory what else it had. Solar Beam, which Solar Beam could work in tandem with the last week's Pokemon of the week, which was Lilligant, because it depended on the sunny day, which would allow it to unleash Solar Beam havoc without needing to charge up, which is very important because Xatu, although it can be trained to have high special attack, it doesn't have impressive stats otherwise. Even the special attack stat is not uber stats, so don't expect to be having this Pokemon on the field for too long if you can't counteract an electric attack very swiftly. That reminds me, Hidden Power. If you want to have Hidden Power, try and make it the Fighting type, because Fighting type will ward off Ice, Rock, and Dark, which are both 3 types that are super effective against Xatu, so that's a good retaliation move. And it's special, so that's awesome as well. But going back to the Solar Beam, sorry to get on a mini tangent of Hidden Power, but Solar Beam depends on sunny day, so those two could work on a team where Xatu could hold a Heat Rock just like Lilligant, keep the sunshine going, and keep the solar beams coming. Maybe if your Lilligant gets taken out, you can come back, retaliate immediately with another solar beam, or whatever move needs to be done. Psychic is very versatile as long as you're not hitting a Pokemon that's resistant to it, or like a Dark type. That's important because having the Hidden Power fighting, you can retaliate against Dark types, where if you just have Psychic, it's no good. Now, Psycho Shock, that is another additional valuable move that I thought about, and the reason it's different than Psychic, although it is powered up by the special attack stat for Xatu, it affects the opponent's attack stat defense. Now, what I mean by that is regular defense, which is affected by regular attack, as opposed to special attack hitting special defense. Just trying to explain the intricacies of EV training just for people who may not understand it, and I want to give more value to these podcasts as kind of a tutorial in the metagame, because although I'm very busy with college and doing other things, making videos, I haven't had time to train my own Pokemon. I could teach you guys how to make Uber Pokemon in order to verse me when I do have the time. But that's the good thing about Xatu. It could potentially, if you see an opponent who has weak defense, and they throw out a Pokemon with strong special defense predicting your Xatu's modest nature and special attacking abilities, you'll give them quite the surprise when you hit them with Psycho Shock and tromp their defense. So it's an option. You could maybe replace Psychic with Psycho Shock, or replace one of the other moves that I've mentioned. Again, if you want to see a more complete, detailed noting on what I think about Xatu and EV training, go to the website, go to the blog, and now, time for viewer comments and questions. NeelyVids Ent was the one who recommended I use Bandai Cam, and that's why I was able to show you some footage of my Minecraft world, which was awesome. And thanks go out to him, so check out his channel, because that really helped me out, and improved the podcast, I'm sure, because you guys much rather see moving images, animation, than just stills that I take snapshots of. Next, we have Gyro, and he's the one who asked us what my opinions of Colosseum and Gale of Darkness are, so that was that gaming discussion. Even though I didn't really play them this week, it was games I had played, and I did have opinions on them. Now, what Hester X has been playing, he has said that I've been playing a hell of a lot of Skyrim and Fallout. Fallout for my 10th time. Wow, 10 times. See, if Fallout was on a portable system, I would have played it for the 20th time. But problem is, it's on, well, my version of it, Fallout 3, is on 360. And I don't even have component cables, or regular cables. So right now I'm kind of not playing 360 right now. But he says that he's been struggling at the Heart Gold story, just walking around Goldenrod City, and he loves how the best Pokemon games are mostly handheld, with the exception of a few. And maybe that exception is Colosseum and Gale of Darkness. Chime98 said that he liked the Swerve dubstep compilation of last week. Sorry, guys, that we had to take it off the podcast. Just had to move it on to the DGZ blog channel. Not really to promote that channel. I mean, it just is my alternate channel. But I don't want to get copyrights on this channel. So, no copyright claims. Awesome podcast content. And thank you guys for giving me lots of positive feedback. Awesome that last week's comment had to do with handhelds. Sorry, I keep looking over there. I have a new air freshener installed. Not really installed, rather sitting on a sill. And it looks like a portal turret. And it always fires abruptly. So I'll have to tweet that up, a picture of that, so you guys can see and maybe agree. Does that look like GLaDOS's machine? And my machine just beeped at me. That's my handheld that helps me connect to the internet. But I wanted to bring this one up before we closed out the podcast because it is a working Pokemon mini device. And I got to kind of hold it by my headset here because that's what's recording the sound. But here is the image. Listen to that awesome music. Freaking great chiptunes. So you had the quest. You could look at your scores. What else? Time attack, score attack, options. Could you look at your scores? Wow, I don't think so. But you had score attack and quest. No, I wanted A. It's funny looking at it through the camera because everything's backwards. So here are a bunch of levels. There's no way that I could play this on camera. But perhaps we'll just go into one. You had a couple of options of Pokemon to choose from. It wasn't like the full Pokemon pinball game where you had catch 'em mode. But it was cool that you had these different Pokemon to unlock. And, oh, that's right, I forgot. It was actually this button, right up here, that made the Pokemon go in. Oh, okay, maybe we could do this. Probably can't hear the sound on it, but just had to bounce the Pokeballs back and forth through these puzzles. And different Pokemon that you unlocked and chose would help you on certain areas because they had a different head. Different shape. Oh, we lost. But they had a different head, they had a different shape, and it enabled you to get the balls at different directions into the holes. And this is still working well. I mean, I have to somehow figure out how to mic it and put it up to the camera so it captures in good quality, but it's good enough to record with. So this portable, along with many other Nintendo portables that I have had, really make up the majority of my gaming life. So I've been DeoGenZ. Remember to comment below so I can read your comments, questions, and other things on the next podcast, and let me know what you think about portables. DeoGenZ, and I'll see you next time.
The veils of illusion that the masters wanted us not to see.
Not transfigured, but transmuted, so that what you really want is what you actually have.
Wow.